Hey everybody, it's Richard with the Hunter-Gatherer Society, and I am out to take advantage of the early berry season. The salmon berries here are out like crazy, as you can see. I've been harvesting them already for a couple weeks, and they are really out now. And we're kind of winding down. A lot of the berries are gone, or they're getting overripe, but there's still a ton on the bushes, and it's just absolutely fantastic. You can see already what I haven't eaten. I'm filling a container full, so that's fantastic. Plus I have more at home. I picked some the other day while I was out fishing, and so just a great time to get out in the woods. Make sure you're out enjoying it. So once again, the salmon berries, they can be either red, orange, or even yellowish. The deeper red they get, the riper they are. Now you can harvest these when they're orange or red, or even they'll almost get blackish when they're super ripe, but they're not going to transport well. They've got these little leaves. They look almost blackberry-ish. There's a blackberry actually coming up. They're a little darker, and they produce, like I said, these multicolored berries. Now, you'll see a lot of these bushes in the middle with these huge leaves and these white flowers. Look at these thick, kind of flatter berries. Those are actual thimbleberries, and those are on their way. Another week, and we should be getting thimbleberries, which are fantastic. So here you can see an example of a couple that are deeper in red. There's one that's almost black. So again, they can be a variance of colors. But again, starting with orange all the way to kind of black, you can harvest these. Now, leave some for the birds, right? I mean, again, berries are tempting, right? We want to pull them all off, but this is a food for a lot of animals. So make sure that we're leaving some for the animals. Plus, there's plenty here. So leave the little ones, leave the ones that aren't quite ripe, leave the ones that are overripe, and take some of the good ones. All right, guys, I'll tell you what, not a bad little harvest for a quick walk. So I am loving the e-bike for this foraging. It is fantastic. It's when you drive around in the truck, it can get really expensive, right? $5 a gallon gas, maybe in your area it's $3. Either way, it can be pretty expensive. But with that e-bike, man, I can cover a lot of ground. I'm several miles from home now, plenty of charge left, and actually it was already a little drained when I started. So I can take this home tonight, plug it back in. Tomorrow I am back on the road again. I love it because I can get off-road, get on-road. It's got plenty of speed, plenty of power. I can get up the hills. Absolutely loving the e-bike for foraging. So speaking of that, I'm going to get back on it. I got a little more room in my bucket. Here's a great example of those thimbleberries. So you can see again, a lot bigger leaves on these. Sometimes they get just huge, but look at these bushes. They are just loaded. And then of course, in the middle, a couple of what we're after, salmon berries. But this is mostly all thimbleberry here, so I'll definitely be back in about a week or so to pluck these. Oh man, so many berries. Love berry season. Oh, God, look at, there's a ripe one. Look at that. Now, the trick with these, they don't transport well. So you can see they immediately just kind of crumble. The great thing about the thimbleberry, right? You can't bring it home. It is literally a treat for the woods. I mean, you can bring it home, but it's gonna be pretty squished. So it's not really a great berry for transporting, but it sure does taste good. Now, of course, I tried to demonstrate while they were doing it. Maybe you can hear it. The buzzing. All these flowers around, if you're gonna harvest berries, you're gonna be with the bees. They're not going to bother you. They don't care a lick about you. They're after all these flowers. They're doing their business. So the buzzing gets a little intimidating. I was at a spot earlier. I thought maybe I was in a nest or something. There were so many of them. They were just minding their own business. So did I. So if you hear the bees, let them do their work. They're making sure next year's berries grow. All right, let's talk a minute about foraging along the side of a roadway. As you can see behind me, berry bushes. And down here, berries. Uh-oh, now I'm in trouble. So you'll see in foraging guides and on videos and online, and you'll even see that in some of mine, not to forage along roadways, places that are sprayed. I typically don't mind. I've been picking berries my whole life along roadways. I don't mind it. I prefer dirt roads. The problem with dirt roads is the dust is kicked up this time of year. Makes it kind of nasty, especially if somebody drives by. Plus the bushes are dirty. The truth being is that plants typically do not put the toxins into their fruit or berries, right? Or even in their leaves. Most of the time, or to my knowledge, all the time, the toxins typically stay in the branches and in the root systems. So I wouldn't harvest a root product along a road like this, but a berry or a leaf I would. I'll typically try to back off the road just a little bit. That's for dust. And truthfully, for safety, right? A lot of people don't pay a lot of attention, so it can be a little dangerous. You're focused on berries, they're focused on texting. Could be a little dangerous. But as far as I've done, I've done some research, I've looked around, I cannot find anything to suggest that the berries hold toxins. Again, all the evidence that I see shows that they hold it in the roots and the stems. So the berries are safe. So I'm not recommending doing this. I'm not saying they're safe. I'm just saying I do it. The research I've shown or seen doesn't show that they're in the berries. So I'm going to go ahead and do it with a little caution. So just my 2 cents. Again, not recommending it. A thought about layers. I've been in and out of this coat today. So it is June here. I am in Western Washington State. It's a beautiful day. However, it rained this morning and there has been cloud cover that comes by. When it does, the wind typically picks up. So I have a long sleeve shirt on, but when I'm riding the e-bike down these hills, I might hit sometimes 30 miles an hour. And so it gets kind of cold. Plus, when I'm foraging, the sun comes out, the wind goes away. I'm standing out in the heat picking berries. Man, it gets hot. So bring a couple layers that you can take on and off easily. Have something that protects your arms. So I got into some berry bushes and I got into some stinging nettle. And not only that, but just the thorns on these, man, they'll tear you up. So wear some layers. When you're picking berries, make sure you're covering your arms. They will tear you up. Now, I don't have gloves on today for berry picking, so I'm reaching into these bushes, and there's blackberries, there's thimbleberries, there's salmonberry. What I didn't notice was the stinging nettle, and it got me on the knuckle. So whenever you're into something like that, around grassy edges, and you get into the stinging nettle, look for the plantain. Remember, plantain, you can identify it. The leaves run all the way from the base straight to the tip. It grows in those rosettes. There's both narrow and wide leaf. This is the broadleaf plantain. So that is phenomenal. Chew a little bit up, rub it on the spot that got the nettle, and boom, voila. There's no more itching. So fantastic little natural medicine. Again, look for the broadleaf or narrowleaf plantain, chew a little bit up, rub it onto the, just to moisten it, and then rub it onto the affected area. You can do that for mosquito bites, bee stings as well. So, but definitely stinging nettle takes care of the itch for you. So that's my little tip for today. I got to carry on. All right, not a bad harvest today. Time to wash them up and enjoy.